What's up, lads? You're with Budget Mike and welcome to a new video. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how I'm able to have 100+ vassals here without actually taking relation slots and without having shared combined strength against Overlord. Now, keep in mind, I have not revoked, guys. There's no revoked privilege year passed here. If you want to understand how this is the case, believe it or not, I was just playing a chill, tall Austria, and this is the position I'm in on 1528. Then stay tuned to this video and I'll show you how you guys can do this for yourself. Let's talk a little bit about revoke. Most people know that if you can get all the way up to the revoke privilege and past this, every single nation within inside of the empire who votes for this will actually become your direct vassal, and nations who do not vote will leave the empire. Now, a few things compared to the empire of old. It's actually really difficult to get the vote from powerful nations like Milan here, who devs really high, and he basically is guaranteed to leave. Now, most people wouldn't worry too much about that because they would, you get claims on them when you revoke, and you could just simply just feed them to the rest of the vassals around here quite easily. But it is one thing to consider because when you proclaim, nobody leaves the empire. In fact, you don't even need to get 90% of the vote or whatever. You can just pass it when you have majority vote. And I'm going to demonstrate how powerful this actually is. So the empire is in a position where it's pretty balanced nowadays, guys. A lot of the old exploits of being able to cheese nations into the empire without, with relative ease and consistency, as well as adding nations outside of Europe, for example, or even becoming the emperor as a horde nation. All of those things have actually been fixed. And therefore, look at that. Bulgaria joins the empire. The empire is an absolute pleasure to play. So I just demonstrated one thing that is nice about the empire nowadays, which would have been just explicitly overpowered in the past. And that is that when you release a subject, they join the empire almost guaranteed. And this is something that we can absolutely abuse because I just gained some imperial authority as they joined the empire. I was at 47 if you're paying attention. And we can now pass the revoke or the proclaim, which is the low-key revoke. I want to demonstrate over the next few years of in-game. I'm going to speed it how strong this actually is. But go ahead and look at this, guys, really quickly. If we study our relations, you can see that I have Bulgaria as a vassal, Burgundy, Castile as a personal union, Savoy, Montferrat, Bologna, and Saluzzo. And that's putting us 2 over our relations. As soon as I pass the proclaim Erbkaisertum, not only do we become the hereditary ruler of the Holy Roman Empire, meaning I can now basically switch religion, I can do whatever I like, but also we gain 25% increased imperial authority, which is really nice and I want to say important, but it's nice because I can now spend my imperial authority very aggressively, boosting tags relations with bestow imperial grace. You can also, which I highly recommend doing, actually cancel the free city status on free cities. And the reason why is because you can then diplo-vassalize them. Not only did those things occur, but if we look at our relations, I've gone from 11 to 5. And why is that? The reason is quite simple. It's because every single vassal inside of the empire does not cost a relation slot, but they also do not have the combined strength of all subjects. It's just their own army strength relative to Austria as opposed to combined strength of vassals. Now, most people are familiar with these bonuses if you have ever revoked privilege here before. But what a lot of people don't realize is that those bonuses, which are very strong if you think about it, they are actually, which I'm about to demonstrate, stronger than revoking the princes themselves, are those specific bonuses. And the reason they apply to proclaim instead of revoke is because otherwise the emperor could basically be defeated in one war where you would actually revoke as in retract or reform. It would kill the emperor. If the emperor ever revoked, you defeat them by revoking a reform, and they would have a bazillion relations, never gaining diplo points ever again, and all of their combined subjects would have liberties and ally one another and attack the emperor. It would just be that easy. You'd basically kill the most obnoxiously overpowered nation in one war. And for that reason, those bonuses are actually tied to proclaim so that the emperor is not so vulnerable to just simply being eliminated in one war. So as a result, guys, let's do a little bit of a before and after here. you can see I have 167 force limit. And yeah, what I'm going to do is actually diplo-vassalize. Okay, if we retract the stuff, I'm going to do a little montage here. We'll start off slow so you guys can see what's up. And I'm going to diplo-vassalize. So keep in mind, I was at 5. We're going to go up to... Yeah, let's vassalize nations who I know have very high relations first. And I just want to... I just did a reconquest for Burgundy recently, guys. So when you do that, they artificially have increased Libre Desire. In fact, I'll show you in a second. So that's why I was able to seize a province from him. Do you see that? Events, province, and defects. Even though I just took one, he's at negative 42. The reason is because I reconquested recently. Cool. Now, after seizing these, what we'll do is I'll release Champagne. Release Nevers just as another prince within inside of the empire. But Champagne specifically has reconquest against France. That would be really cool. Grab a royal marriage with Burgundy for Libre Desire. Let's see if I can take one of these. Oh, just about, barely. Cool. I'll do that. I'll release him as another prince. Okay, so I know exactly what to do. I'll just simply use my favors, which you also obtain when you return call of a subject, and boost our trust up to 100. His Libre Desire should be fine. Yeah, I have the ability to release many Venetian princes, guys, like these guys, for example, and transfer their trade power, if I wish, which would debatably be stronger than having stated them, but just for my own satisfaction and peace of mind, let's keep it really chill here. And even though I could do that, let's just go ahead and get flat bonuses, such as a new vassal right there, Bar, Pisa. At this rate, we could, I'm sure we could actually begin collecting in the Genoan node. And notice that I'm at 6 out of 9 relations, guys, as I continuously make more and more vassals. So let's go through a little bit of a montage here, where I diplo-vassalize as many nations as I can in Europe. I'm sure I'll spend a good few years doing this. And remember, I was at 160-something force limit. Alrighty guys, there we go. Admittedly, it did take years. You can do this kind of thing while you're continuing to be at war, as well as, you know, it takes time. But with that being said, look at that. Absolutely crazy. Look how much our force limit has just spiked up there. Absolutely massive, not to mention the number of troops available, as well as the economic bonuses from transfer of trade power and the subsidies that they're paying. And yeah, I have vassalized every single nation who is under 100 dev, a non-elector or free city. Some of the free cities are mad at me still, so it would take some time, but I would still be able to vassalize them. I say mad at me because I revoked their free city status. That's why they're mad, guys. But we'd still be able to vassalize them with some time. And otherwise, this is so overpowered, guys. Let me demonstrate to you. If we fight this war, for example, look at the swarm. Absolutely glorious. But it really makes for powerful peace deals. Okay guys, after the swarm just wrecked the Teutonic Order, I wanted to show you guys that this really opens up another way of expanding. So as opposed to actually taking land, you know, because we inherited all of the Casus Belli of, for example, Stolp here giving us the war goal of Danzig. Instead of taking land, I'm simply able to release Danzig and then diplo-vassalize him, of course. Which, some cases it can cost you diplo points, but it's basically a free way of expanding while simultaneously improving relations with other tags here. This used to be a free city, and vassalizing them. So yeah, if I do a before and after, guys, we had 160 force limit. My force limit over the last 8 years, and trust me, I could have been more productive. I'm just trying to rush this, has increased by 114 or so, or 110. Absolutely glorious. I think you guys can see that this is very much like the mini revoke, so to speak. Pretty much any nation I have eclipsed, with the exception of the Ottomans, who are doing exceptionally well. And absolutely glorious, so powerful. It can be really utilized to a really strong degree. And yet there is no downside to revoking. Like, nobody leaves the empire. And I will remind you guys that this is going to help increase the likelihood to acquire any of these votes, right? Because they are already our vassals. So I'm looking at every opportunity, like for example this, to use my favors. I'm just going to ally Utrecht, and I'm going to use my favors to return core to Burgundy until they are less than 100 development, and then I will go ahead and diplo-vassalize them. As well as any free city, we're going to be working on them, diplo-vassalize them, and potentially, I'm just simply going to kill the electors, guys. There's still war allowed inside of the empire. I'll just kill the electors and release them as vassals. A really creative move you can do, guys, is actually kill an elector like Saxony, and then he will no longer be an elector, but electors are not important, of course. And then when we're fighting somebody like France, we can then piece out one of France's allies by actually releasing Saxony as an independent nation, and that will lower our aggressive expansion. And then we can diplo-vassalize him because he's no longer an elector. So very, very strong, very powerful to kind of exploit. And with that being said, guys, I want to plug my live stream right now where I'm actually trying to achieve the world record for the largest number of princes added to the Holy Roman Empire ever. And I'm going for over 823. We're hoping for 824 to be the number, which right now, unless there's some kind of obscure exploit, it's actually impossible to get more than that. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you learned something about how powerful this reform actually is. I appreciate you, and I'll see you live, or I'll see you in another video.